Okay, and I'm back. So, I'm trying something different today. I'm actually very concerned. I'm trying to do a new server. So far, it seems like I'm not cutting out, and it seems like maybe I fixed the problem I've been having for the last few podcasts. So, fingers crossed. But I've noticed a few interesting pieces of news. There's some reboots in the works, or not exactly reboots, maybe sequels. I don't know. It's weird, but let's get into it because there's titles that I care about. You got some Transformers news, you got some freaking Ace Ventura news, and you got some Borderlands news. So let's get into it. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Well, first off, I guess, Danny, thank you for joining me. Getting off work before 3 p.m. I'm guessing you're East Coast. Not exactly sure. I don't think so. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Let's see. What was I talking about? Yeah, so please let me know. Chat, let me know. Danny, let me know. If you see any issues with the stream, let me, because like I said, I'm trying out something different because the last few ones had been cutting out. I did the review for Invincible, and it just completely just cut out a whole bunch of pieces of it. So let me know, because I'm concerned. It's one of those things that I try to keep an eye on, but I tend to forget. So there you go. So this week, actually, for those of you who, I'm all over the place. I need to reset. Okay, so any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World, streaming on YouTube and on Twitch at Super Dario World. This week, I'm doing aiming for a 2 p.m. show. Today I couldn't do it. I had to drive my sister to the airport. And free advice, everybody, just never have sisters. They're always a pain in the ass. And while we're at it, don't have brothers either. They're also pains in the ass. Nah, I'm kidding. They're awesome. They're great. But driving people to the airport sucks. It always takes longer than you expect. Always way longer. Anyway, so I'm aiming for 2 p.m. Supposedly, Eric was supposed to be back yesterday, so we were going to do our next Taco Tuesday for a show that I'm really excited to talk about, but who knows what's up with the guy, man. He's out there working, like a job, like a normal person, and it's like, what the fuck, man? It's not cool. We had a deal. But yeah, maybe he'll be back later today, and we'll do it later today. If not, it will be an Otaco Thursday, or as we call it, Otaco plus 2. Who knows? Anyway, well, for those of you who cared, because you did ask about that a lot, there you go. So let's get into this, because it's honestly, at least I think it's interesting. I don't know if you think it's interesting, but I think it's interesting. But let's begin first off with, I guess, like, the least relevant news, somewhat. Let's get out of the way. So it's been, for those of you who don't know, there's a movie called Black Widow that's coming out. It's from part of a little thing called the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You may have heard of it. You may have not. Doesn't really matter. This movie has been delayed several times over because of a little thing that you may or not have heard of. It's called the COVID pandemic, and they've closed down theaters, and that's why film companies did not want to release their films because of the lockdowns and all that stuff, because they were like, we're going to lose money, and we don't want to lose money because money's cool. And it's like, all right, fine, that's fair. I understand what you're saying. Anyway, the point is, this movie's been delayed a lot. It was supposed to come out a year ago, and now it's finally... Now, this is the weird part for me, but it's confirmed that the movie has been finally locked. Now, and it got its rating. So the rating's going to be PG-13. And for those of you who don't know what locked movie means, it's a film term, and that means it means when you're done editing it. So the movie, when a movie's locked, it means that you're done with it. You're not going to fix audio, you're not going to fix visuals. It's done. It's set, it's ready to go. It's ready to roll out everywhere. So good news is that the movie's ready to go. The bad news is that nobody really knows when it's going to come out. So, in fact, the headline here, or the tweet that came out, is Marvel's Black Widow is finally a picture lock just in time for its release in May or July. So nobody knows when it's coming out. So I have no idea. I just know that it's PG-13 and it's supposed to come out this year. Nobody knows if it's going to be an exclusive for Disney Plus. Nobody knows if it's going to come out in theaters. Nobody knows if it's going to be a dual thing. Who knows? It's all up in the air. And I honestly don't even want to speculate on this one, because it's been too wild everywhere, and it's hard to tell. It's hard to pin it down. So the big damn it, I'm looking at the bit rate. It's going down. God damn it. It's going back up. All right. Looks like we're good. No, it's yellow. It's orange. Oh my god. Okay, I need to ignore that thing. Otherwise, I'm just gonna only look at it. Anyway, uh, point is, that's the news. In case you guys cared. And also locked means that you're not gonna do anything with it anymore. Which to me, it's weird because the movie was supposed to come out a year ago. So either they changed a lot, and I mean a lot, or they've just, here's the problem with editing. When editors, they're perfectionists, and you're never going to be happy with your own work, so you're always going to be tinkering and tinkering. So maybe it's a year of tinkering. Maybe I didn't hear anything about any reshoots, so I don't think it's that. Maybe they just, they decided to add a few things here to tinker. I don't know. The point is, it's weird that a year after it was supposed to be released, it's finally locked, so it finally got its rating. But if they were planning on delaying it, then I guess it's not really that big of a deal. It's also possible that the reason why it got delayed maybe had nothing to do with COVID, and maybe it had to do with the fact that the movie wasn't ready yet, and they just used COVID as an excuse, which is also a possibility, if not even a probability. Anyway, just, spitballing here, but it's something that could happen. Anyway, moving on. We have a little bit of news here. For those, I didn't talk about this, but I was really excited about it. It's been announced that they are. Let me see the correct studio here, because I know who the director is. I'm just not exactly sure who the studio is. But it's been confirmed that they are working on a live-action adaptation for the video game franchise Borderlands. And for those of you who've never played Borderlands, by the way, the director's Eli Roth. If you ever saw the Hostel franchise, he's the head of it. And if you never, he's actually an actor too. You probably saw him in Inglourious Bastards. He was the Bear Jew, the dude with the baseball bat. That's him. Dude's actually a good actor, and he's made some pretty good horror films or slasher films. He's done all right. It's going to be he's going to be in charge of this franchise, and the cast seems interesting. So far, it's been, it's really hard to always confirm, because I don't like really confirming cast stuff because it changes day to day sometimes. But supposedly, Cate Blanchett is going to be at the helm of it, and Kevin Hart. So here's the premise, or at least the synopsis that was officially revealed when they announced that this project was going to be going down. So Lilith, Cate Blanchett, the character played by Cate Blanchett, an infamous outlaw with a mysterious past, reluctantly returns to her home planet of Pandora to find the missing daughter of the universe's most powerful SOB, Atlas, played by Edgar Ramirez. Lilith forms an alliance with an unexpected team, Roland, which is Kevin Hart, a former elite mercenary, now desperate for redemption. Tiny Tina, Greenblatt, who I have no idea who that is, the actress, a feral preteen demolitionist, Craig, I'm just going to skip the actors' names because I don't know who they are. It says Montanu, but whatever. Tina's muscle-bound, rhetorically challenged protector. Tanis, the scientist with a tedious grip on sanity. And Claptrap, a persistently wise-ass robot. These unlikely heroes must battle alien monsters and dangerous bandits to find and protect the missing girl, who may hold the key to unimaginable power. The fate of the universe could be in their hands, but they'll be fighting for something more: each other. So, the Borderlands franchise is actually pretty good. It's fun. It's wild. It's hysterical. It's a fun first-person shooter. So if you're looking for a good first-person shooter franchise, I recommend it, because it's also kind of an RPG, because you upgrade your character. You get to pick up millions of weapons, which some of them are extremely powerful. Some of them really suck. So it's a fun franchise. You can play it in co-op, so I recommend it. The thing that's interesting here is they let out another piece of news that says, to the interested, the Borderlands cinematic universe. So that's key information there. They're planning on making it a universe. The cinematic universe is not identical to the Borderlands video game universe. We are authentic to characters, tone, and style, but allow for independent storylines. The mediums are not the same, so the content should not be bound by the same rules. So, first off, this makes a lot of sense, because there's really not a whole lot tying in with the first Borderlands game to, let's say, the third Borderlands game. They changed the characters, they changed the villain, they changed a whole lot of stuff. So they're all very different. So if it's okay for them to change it up. The key thing about Borderlands is that you're in the planet Pandora, which sucks balls and everything wants to kill you, and everybody's crazy there. So showing different adventures from different random characters in maybe different periods of time, perfectly okay with it. In fact, it sounds exciting. So this is a good way to separate. It's not going to be an adaptation of the video game. It's going to be a movie based on the video game's world, which is great. So if you already kind of know the basis of that world, actually you don't really need to know much. It's just basically, this world sucks. Everything wants to kill you. There's giant monsters. Come on, come here and try to basically make something of yourself. So it's got potential. Honestly, it could be if you instead of making it like a movie about an entire video game, just make it a movie about one adventure in this particular video game. That'd be great. Honestly, I'm excited for it. And I like the director. So far, the cast seems fine. So we'll see. It has potential. So I'll keep you posted on that in case, they reach development hell and all of a sudden, it stops. But key things here. Most important things. One, they're calling it the cinematic universe. So they're planning on making several of these, apparently. So it looks like the potential of it to keep growing is good. 2, the game's fun if you're looking for a good first-person shooter. 3, it's not going to be just a remake, or they're not just going to be redoing the video game in cinematic form. It's going to be something completely different. So there you go. Those are the 3 important things from that particular piece of news. Let's move on to the thing here that why I named this particular episode the Ace Ventura. Wait, no, that's wrong. I messed up. Yeah, the Ace Ventura Reboot. So, interesting piece of news here, and I've been looking up, and supposedly, allegedly, it's not going to be a reboot. However, it's not exactly clear if Jim Carrey's going to be coming back. So, with the reboot of Dumb and Dumber, well, not the reboot, with the sequel of Dumb and Dumber coming out, everybody was like, oh, well, you need to do like something else for other of Jim Carrey's big franchises. And then the movie came out, and everybody was like, this movie sucks. we don't want to keep wasting money on this anymore. And so that got canceled. And then Sonic the Hedgehog came out, and everybody was like, Jim Carrey's great. We should do more of his movies. And so rumors started coming out of Ace Ventura 3 coming out, because that's what happens every single. We're in the era of the reboots. We're in the era of sequels. No original idea gets past green light unless it's being made by an independent. Who knows why? It's stupid. I hate it. Anyway, so there's supposedly a major hurdle was recently passed. The big step, and I'll just read you here a particular quote that came from the studios who's in charge. Well, Morgan Creek Entertainment, who's the production company who's behind Ace Ventura. Here's the quote. We're pretty excited about our franchise developments with The Exorcist and the Ace Ventura franchise. It's noticeable from the 3 million fans chatting on the official Facebook page for Ace Ventura that audiences are clamoring for a third installment. During COVID, audiences have been in love and thrilled to have beloved characters brought back with new stories. Ace Ventura will see a new day at Amazon as major production picture theatrical with the Sonic the Hedgehog writers. As a major motion picture theatrical release with Sonic the Hedgehog writers. So, first off, key information there, it's going to be written by the dudes who did Sonic the Hedgehog, which they understood Jim Carrey's comedic genius, let's say, in a way. So, is it for the big question for Ace Ventura is it too late? Did they miss the boat? Is it because we're no longer in the 90s, guys, and this movie was kind of offensive, the first one, and that's why it was great. I loved it. Warning, assholes are closer than they appear. I mean, the main villain of the first one, spoiler alert, the main villain of the first one was a tranny, which was fucking hysterical. The scene, everybody throwing up was fucking hysterical. I can see everybody and their mother being canceled because of it now. I can see myself being canceled just for reenacting it. But you know what? Fuck it. It was funny. It doesn't matter. It was offensive, but it was supposed to be, and that's funny to me. Anyway, moving on. The point is, the first movie came out in 1994, and I think the next one came out a year later, Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls. So, did it miss its boat? We're not in the 90s anymore, guys. We're not in 90s comedy anymore. This movie was beyond stupid, and that's why it was great, but we're in a different era of comedy now. Will it translate well? Is Jim Carrey too old? Now, honestly, and I'm just going to pitch it to you guys right here, and I could totally 100% see this movie being like Ace Ventura grew, he's a little bit older and he ended up becoming kind of like the Tiger King. I could totally see that happening to Ace, you know? Like he opened up his own fucking pet sanctuary and it ended up being kind of like a fucked up fucked up, sanctuary similar to Tiger King. I could totally see that happening because the character's definitely wild enough. And so you give him a cast of other weirdos and he's competing against another sanctuary. And he hates her and he's trying to take her down. I could totally see it. I could see Jim Carrey doing it, and I could see somebody being like, you know what? That other series was very popular a year ago. We got this other thing. Let's reboot it with this thing because money plus money equals money. It may not work out. I would see it just because I'm a fan. I'm a Jim Carrey fan and I'm an Ace Ventura fan and I like animals. So anything with animals, I usually watch. So it has potential. The thing is, are you going to castrate the character? Because if you do, then I'm out. The point of these things is if this is a character who's balls to the walls crazy, okay? And he didn't give a fuck about offending anybody, and he didn't give a fuck about what anybody thought about him. He didn't give a fuck, and that's why it was great. So if you're gonna castrate Ace Ventura, get the fuck out. I don't really care. The character has to stay balls to the walls crazy in order for this to work. If you're going to censor him in any way, then that's stupid. Just get the fuck out. It doesn't matter. Honestly, don't even waste my time. Don't even waste your money because everybody's gonna hate it. Keep the essence of the story. The story is about a dude who's insane, who's a detective for pets. All right, he loves animals, hates humans, is batshit crazy, and there you go. He's guano crazy. Okay, so it has potential. All right, because when you have a great character, there's always potential for a great story. Unlike, let's say, Dumb and Dumber, the characters, they were okay, but it was more the situation that made it funny. So you have a great situation, totally ridiculous, and ridiculous characters, it works out. Here, Ace Ventura is wild enough on his own that wherever you drop him, it could be interesting. Like, Ace Ventura visits, I don't know, SeaWorld. I'd watch that. It'd be fucking hysterical. I'd watch an hour of Ace Ventura in SeaWorld just to see what the fuck is going on. The way that he would interact with people would be hysterical. Ace Ventura, I don't know, goes to church. I'd find that funny. Larger-than-life characters that no matter what you do with him could be great, but give him a good situation and don't castrate the character, and it could be fantastic. So we'll see how it goes. As always, there's always potential for fuck-ups, but we'll see. I'm hoping. You know what? I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic on this one because I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I thought the writers did a good job. Clearly, they have a chemistry there with Jim Carrey. They understood his style of comedy. So it's got potential. They respected, you know what? They respected the character of Sonic. They understood the franchise. They did it well. So right now, benefit of the doubt territory when we get more information or more thing comes up. Because it may turn out that they actually cast somebody else as Ace Ventura. And you know what? You can go fuck yourselves. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, that's that piece of news. And the final piece of news is kind of twofold. So we got information that I believe it's Paramount, if I'm not mistaken, or is it Paramount? Yeah, Paramount is considering a reboot of the Transformers franchise. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's still more Transformers movies coming out. Yeah, and they have the Bumblebee spin-offs, which, that's the best I could tell you. I haven't seen it. I stopped watching a while back. It became too stupid, and I hated it. Anyway, moving on. Also, they got rid of Witwicky. They got rid of my boy Shia LaBeouf, who's also a fucking psychopath, and I enjoy watching him on screen because he's a total fucking psychopath. Anyway, moving on. I stopped watching the franchise, but apparently they're working on a reboot. And at first I'm like, do we really need a fucking Transformers reboot? And worse, do we need two? Seriously? Now I get it. You need to revamp the franchise because it's giving you billions of dollars and you like money and you want to continue making money. Fine. I hate it, but it's fine. I understand. I mean, I don't have to watch it. But here's the interesting part, and this is the only reason why I actually cared. It's twofold. The first part, not really that important. The second part got my attention and got me, like tickling in all my right places. So here you go. The first piece of news is the movie is being penned by Joby Harold, who co-wrote the upcoming Zack Snyder movie Army of the Dead. So, all right. So, all right. The movie Army of the Dead, I talked about it yesterday. It looks exciting. It looks like a different context. So, I don't know if that was Snyder's job or it was the writer's job, but it looks interesting enough. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now. That's not really important. That piece of news, whatever. Here's the important part. The second part is written by Zodiac writer James Vanderbilt. Now, that dude's a legit writer, and Zodiac's a legit movie. I highly recommend it. I believe it's David Fincher who directed it. Highly recommend it. It's a great thriller. But here's the kicker, and here's the important part, and here's the reason why I actually wanted to talk about it. The movie, it's rumored that this reboot will be based off of Transformers Beast Wars. Okay? So finally, somebody's doing something with fucking Transformers Beast Wars. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is or what the fuck I'm talking about, let me tell you. First off, watch the show. It's a TV show. I highly recommend it. It's great. It's basically Transformers, robots in disguise, except what they transform themselves into is not cars, because cars are stupid. They transform themselves into animals, because animals are awesome. I don't know if you noticed that little thing that I said before, that I like anything with animals, that I just said about Ace Ventura like 2 minutes ago. Well, that applies also to robots. Generally, I don't like robots, but robots that transform into animals, I'm 100% in. And more importantly, I love those fucking toys. Okay, I wanted to have every single one. And for those of you who are wondering, my favorite Transformer, Beast War Transformer, was Dinobot, because it's a Velociraptor, and I like reptiles. And I don't know if you noticed the logo of my stupid podcast, but it's actually an owl monitor that looks a lot like a freaking Velociraptor. In fact, if you see the opening for this particular video, for every single one of my videos, when I do the Super Dario stuff, and you can see him, look at his face, it looks like a Velociraptor from Jurassic Park. Anyway, I like that shit. Okay, I'm all in. A Beast War, and you know what? I'll give you another kicker, even better. In Beast Wars, Transformers Beast Wars, the one that I'm talking about right now, there are no humans. So the worst part about the Transformers movies, at least the latter ones where there's no more Witwicky, is all the human shit. Who gives a fuck of all the freaking soldiers just shooting around? You're doing nothing, all right, guy? You're doing fucking nothing. If Optimus Prime and his sword cannot do fucking anything, or their gigantic cannons can't do anything, what do you think you're gonna do with your stupid Beretta? Nothing. You're just, you're not even tickling them. You're barely in the way. You're just costing us screen time. Anyway, whatever. Doesn't matter. The point is, in Transformers Beast Wars, there are no humans yet. There's no real human civilization. And that's fantastic, because you know what that means? That means that they focus on the battles between the Transformers, which is what we're there for. It's what we care about. Giant mechs fighting each other. And if it's giant animal robot mechs, even better. All right? So I'm excited for this. For those of you who never watched the original show, let me tell you why they have to transform into animals. So, because that's something you're thinking about. Well, if there are no humans, then why do they have to be in disguises? It doesn't make any real sense. Well, the reason is because the Transformers were chasing after Megatron and his crew, like the bad guys, and so they crash landed on this particular planet that has some weird, I forget, energy source, magnetic field. It's weird. Listen, I watched the show all the way back in the 90s. I'm not gonna be able to explain this completely, but it had this weird magnetic field, and so them in their robot forms, they tend to short circuit whenever they transform. Well, if they stay in the robot forms too long, so they needed a way to protect themselves. So they transformed into the local fauna, and that was a way of them being able to survive outside of their ship in this particular planet, so that they wouldn't short circuit and stuff like that. That is the basic reason why all of that happened. That's the basic reason why they turned into animals, and it was great. First off, most importantly, the toys were great. Highly recommend them. Second, even more importantly than that, the show is great. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I think it still holds up. It dragged a little bit at the end, and it became a little bit ridiculous, but the first part is really heavy. The story's good. It's dark enough. It's interesting enough. It has a lot of consequences. So I'm excited. If they go that route, if they're just like, you know what, just keep the humans out of it, okay? We've learned it from Godzilla vs. Kong. We've learned it from Godzilla, King of Monsters. We learned it from Godzilla. We've learned it from Transformers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep the humans out of the giant mech fights. Keep them out of the giant kaiju fights. Keep them out of all that shit. They only ruin stuff. They're only in the way. Get them the fuck out. So, I'm excited for this, if you can tell. Hopefully you're excited about it too. Hopefully it got you at least a little bit interested in. And if not, here's the beauty of it. Here's the beauty of it. If it ends up not being a Beast Wars Transformers reboot, you can still watch the show. I think it's on YouTube. So I highly recommend it. So there you go. I believe that's a good place to stop for today. I can't get any higher than that. So I'm gonna stop right there. Seems fair. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World, streaming on YouTube and on Twitch. This week, I'm aiming for 2 p.m. I'm kind of liking it, you know? It's the setup's easier. I know you guys don't see me set up, but it's easier for me because they know the lighting and shit like that. So it may continue being a thing. Who don't know? Who knows? If Eric comes back later today, we might do a Taco Tuesday +1. If he comes back tomorrow, you know what? Fuck the guy. I might do it by myself. We'll see. As always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again next time.